صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Chapter on Al-Lian, the statement of Allah, and for those who accuse their wives up to if he, her husband, speaks the truth. Quran, Surah An-Nur, chapter 24, verses 6 to 9. Footnote: Lian, an oath which is taken by both the wife and the husband when the husband accuses his wife of committing illegal sexual intercourse. The Quran, Surah Nur, chapter 24, verses 6, 7, 8, and 9. If a dumb man accuses his wife of an illegal sexual intercourse by means of writing, pointing, or giving a familiar nod, then he is like the one who can speak, for the Prophet, peace be upon him, has permitted the use of gestures in performing the orders prescribed by Allah. That is the saying of some people of Hijaz and some learned men. And Allah said, then she, Mary, pointed to him, Jesus. They said, how can we talk to one who is a child in the cradle? Quran, Surah Maryam, chapter 19, verse 29. And Ad-Dahak said, Ila Ramza means only with signals. Some scholars said, neither illegal prescribed punishment nor lian are permissible to be carried out through gestures. Yet he said if somebody expresses his decision to divorce his wife by means of writing, pointing, or nodding, it is permissible. But there is no difference between divorcing and accusing. If that scholar says that accusation can be only through speech, he will be answered that. Similarly, divorce cannot be given except through speech, otherwise both divorce and accusation are invalid. The same is true about the manumission of slaves. A deaf person is permitted to do lian. Ash-Shabi and Qatada said, if someone says you are divorced and points with his fingers, his gesture is enough to bring about the divorce. Ibrahim said if a dumb person writes a divorce with his hand, it becomes valid. And Hamad said if a dumb or a deaf person gives a nod to indicate something, it is sufficient. Narrated Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, shall I tell you of the best families among the Ansar? They, the people, said, yes, O Allah's Messenger. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the best are Banu an-Najjar, and after them are Banu Abd al-Ashal, and after them are Banu al-Harith bin al-Khazraj, and after them are Banu Sa'idah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, then moved his hand by closing his fingers and then opening them like one throwing something, and then said, anyhow, there is good in all the families of the Ansar. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'd as-Sayyidi, a companion of Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, holding out his middle and index fingers, said, my advent and the hours are like this, or like these. Namely, the period between his era and the hour is like the distance between those two fingers. That is very short. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace be upon him, holding out his 10 fingers thrice, said, the month is thus and thus and thus, namely 30 days. Then holding out his 10 fingers twice and then 9 fingers, he said, it may be thus and thus and thus, namely 29 days. He meant once 30 days and once 29 days. Narrated Abu Masud, the Prophet, peace be upon him, pointed with his hand towards Yemen and said twice, faith is there, and then pointed towards the east and said, verily, sternness and mercilessness are the qualities of those who are busy with their camels and pay no attention to their religion, from where comes out the 2 sides of the head of Satan, namely the tribes of Rabi'ah and Mudar. Narrated Sahal, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, I and the one who looks after an orphan will be like this in paradise, showing his middle and index fingers and separating them.